All right, we are getting things started here. I'm going to go ahead and give us another minute or so just for people to shuffle in here. Um, as usual, so typically what I like to do on these office hours is I like to show off something new that we're building, either that we've released recently or that is currently live in my, or that we're about to release soon. Um, Kind of with a demo, just kind of showing you the new stuff that we've got cooking. So yeah, so we'll do that for this session as well. We'll start off with a demo, and then we'll run right into questions. So have people raise your hands. You can ask questions in the chat if you're here in the Zoom live stream. And then I'll just respond to those questions either in real time or by chat, but probably in real time. And then we'll just end when people are done with questions. So we can keep it super casual. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a super formal thing. Just any questions that you all have, I'm happy to talk about and answer. The demo that we're going to run today is a really exciting one. It's the start of some really exciting stuff that we're building around using agents to build content in Mindsmith and to manage your content within Mindsmith. So, so what we'll be showing today, and I probably won't demo this live, but I do have a conversation that I ran yesterday. I mean, we could try demoing it live actually and see how that goes. But I'll just start off with a conversation that I had with our Mindsmith MCP yesterday. So that's what we're releasing here soon. It'll probably be in closed beta today or tomorrow, and then we'll release it general access probably next week. But an MCP, so for those who don't know, MCP stands for Machine Context Protocol, and it's basically a way for a large language model, so Claude or ChatGPT, or if you use Copilot, to use other tools. So it will have read-only access to certain things, it will have edit access to certain things, it will have create access. And so you can sort of use your agents that you've built internally to manage and build and edit your content in Mindsmith. Um, so this is really exciting. There are a lot of things that this enables in the future. One of the things to think about is what does L&D look like in a year or 2 years? Who is managing L&D departments? How automated are those L&D departments? Um, and so if you imagine that agents take on more and more responsibility within learning and development, those agents will be able to grab Mindsmith for creating e-learning content. And we'll also have some cool stuff around the analytics of that content. So pushing the data from the learner back into the LLM and tracking that in a really effective way. But okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to start out just by sharing actually my Claude instance. And I'm hoping that there's nothing. Uh, I don't think there's anything secret here. So this is my Claude instance, and this is a conversation I had with Claude Code the other day. So for those who don't know, Claude is a large language model. We use it a lot internally. In my opinion, one of the better ones. Um, and so you can see what I did is I started out by asking the MCP, can you look through my team space in Mindsmith to find every lesson on effective communication? Effective communication is a demo that I run a lot when I am demoing Mindsmith. And so I know that there are a lot of lessons in my team space about effective communication. So the agent here queried Mindsmith. So it grabbed the MCP, and then it searched the Mindsmith team space for effective communication lessons. So it's showing me the code here that it's searching. I'm going to go ahead and minimize that. And then it says, okay, I found 57 lessons matching effective communication in your team space. Here's the breakdown. Okay, 4 of those are active, and then 53 of those are inactive. And some of those have consistent titles. So effective workplace communication, there are 19 lessons with that title. And then there are some other lessons with different titles. So every time I do a demo, the title comes out slightly different because that's how AI works. It says, okay, almost everything is unassigned to a project. Only two lessons live inside a project. Do you want me to narrow down, duplicate, pull content details? Like, what do you want me to do with this, what I just pulled? And then I said, okay, can you go through all the lessons that were created over 2 months ago and change the word communication to correspondence? So the AI did some digging and it says, before I do this, here's a couple of things I want to flag. You only have two lessons that are over 2 months old. And here are the lessons. Here are my concerns. Both are active lessons in a project, so there might be learners that would be affected by any changes that I make. The change hits the title too, and it's maybe not what you want semantically. So correspondence generally means written, not general communication. And replacing every instance blindly could garble the content. So there's just some awkwardness here. What do you want me to do here? And it gives me some options. And then I say, okay, just do the one from January. And yes, every instance of communication, I want you to replace with correspondence. So it went through editing. It took some time doing some background tasks, and then it says done. Okay, that lesson is back to ready status. Here's the title, and then it gave me the links to go right into Mindsmith and do it. So you can imagine this MCP, one of the biggest use cases we get from people is, especially in the large enterprise, managing your content and especially content updates. So you can imagine I would jump in here and I would upload a new document that says, hey, we got this new product document. I want you to tell me what I should update across my library. And the AI will look through my document and then it'll look through my library and it'll say, okay, I've identified these like 15 things across your whole library that I think you should update. Do you want me to go out and update them? Yes. Okay, I'm going to go out and do it. I updated them, and because of dynamic scoring, those changes would be pushed live. So instead of you having to comb through each piece of content manually, it can rip through your content and make your updates. So very, very powerful feature there for updating and managing. Same thing with like assets. So if you have like images or the name of your CEO or whatever you need to do, you can do there. The other cool thing is some of these agents, these LLMs, you can create managed agents that can listen for API calls. So if you have a help center, for example, you could run an agent that checks your help. If your help center happens to have an API, you could check your help center every morning for updates and then look across your e-learning content and like make those updates. So you can kind of manage APIs and webhooks here and well, we use Claude, but whichever one you have, and you can have it do a lot of that work for you. So there's a lot of options here. The MCP can create content as well. So you can imagine running agents that are like mining your company for context. So like an interview agent that's interviewing a subject matter expert and interviewing stakeholders and says, hey, we've identified this need. I'm going to go out and create the first draft based on this content that I have. And I'm also going to pull from, if you're using Claude, it might pull from your what's sort of like your Outlook or your OneDrive or your Google Drive or whatever, and grab some context and then create the content. So basically, what the MCP does is it opens up Mindsmith to a future where agents are more involved in the creation process. But it's still human in the loop. It's very much human in the loop. Like you as the human are managing these agents. So after it makes the change, then it pulls open. Let's see here. So I have to reshare my screen. Just give me one moment. Our SSO kicked me off, so I have to relog into Mindsmith really quickly. Okay, we're good. Now let me stop sharing and then reshare my screen. So I clicked on that link and it pulled open the changes that it made. So you can see it changed the title to correspondence. And then you can see it's changed course communication to the word correspondence throughout this lesson. So anyway, the point is, MCP, very exciting. It'll be released in beta. If you want to be on the beta, go ahead and shoot me an email and we can add you to it. And then we'll be shooting for a pretty tight turnaround for general release. So that's the agent. That's our quick demo to kick things off. Thanks everyone for tuning into that demo and for waiting patiently if you have questions that you're itching to ask. I'm going to go ahead and just allow everyone to talk. If you have questions, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll just jump right into questions. Or you can also, if you don't want to speak your question, you can type it into the Q&A in the chat, and I'm happy to help out there. Okay, so please raise your hand if you have questions or type them into the Q&A. Wait, maybe we don't have a Q&A anymore. I think maybe because yeah, oh, there it is. Yeah, we do still have it. Okay, any questions people have? This may be a short one today. Maybe it's just a demo. Okay, I'm seeing a question from Imani.
So I had a question based on like how you're using AI to create. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So how you're using AI to create the course in Claude. Um, does it have the same power as Perplexity? Or is Perplexity more like better to create courses? I was trying to differentiate it by like maybe if I want to create a course that's pulling from the internet, then maybe Perplexity would be good. But if I want to like put the information in it that I specifically want, then maybe Claude or just using the AI agent. So can you kind of dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, so the difference, so MCP, I'm pretty sure Perplexity supports MCP connectors. So if you really like Perplexity and it's kind of your go-to, then you can use the Mindsmith MCP through Perplexity. As far as the differences between Perplexity and Claude, I don't know. I haven't used Perplexity in a very long time. I would say a Claude power user. I know Perplexity tends to like cite sources better. So if you're creating content that's maybe very regulation centric, that you have to like cite things very well, then Perplexity may be your go-to. But personally, most of the work that I'm doing, and most of the work that I recommend people do is would be in Claude.
Awesome. Thank you for explaining that.
Absolutely. And the thing is, the AI landscape changes every day. Like ChatGPT released some stuff a few days ago that are really exciting. And so we may be doing some stuff, moving some of our operations to ChatGPT from Claude. And Perplexity may come up with something, in 2 weeks that's blowing Claude out of the water for certain use cases. And so it's hard to stay abreast. But it's also very exciting. But also I would say don't worry too much about necessarily like falling behind because most of these companies are kind of tend to keep up with each other within the like 2 weeks to 2 or 3 months time frame.
Yep, I definitely agree. So thanks.
Awesome. Yes, you're welcome. Okay. Any other questions? All right. I'm not seeing any questions. So if you do have questions or you want to learn more about MCP, go ahead and shoot me an email, ethan@mindsmith.ai. Otherwise, thanks everyone for coming to office hours.